I'm not going to lie, he had us fooled in the beginning. But Charles Oliveira ended up accepting the Mateusz Gamrot challenge, and now it's official for October's UFC Brazil card. What a roller coaster. It started with Fiziev pulling out, then Oliveira and his coach Wani considering several different opponents, including BSD, before finally landing on Gamrot as the replacement. Honestly, I thought Oliveira was going to withdraw too. He himself admitted that this matchup probably puts him at a disadvantage. The situation was getting concerning because it really looked like he might duck, which would have fit the theme of this division lately. If he had pulled out, it would have wrecked the entire Brazil card, which was built around him, and the fans would have lost out on another big fight. But he accepted, and the announcement came just about an hour after his manager posted an Instagram story that hinted at a preference against Paddy Pimblett, Arman Tsarukyan, and Diego Lopez. The Mexican flag in that post almost certainly represented Lopez, and since no Polish flag was posted, it's safe to say Paddy and Arman were never serious options. My guess? Diego was the backup in case Gamrot turned it down, so Charles probably took the fight regardless. The interesting part is that Oliveira had already expressed disinterest in this matchup, mainly because of Gamrot's fighting style. He had been preparing for a striker, and suddenly switching to a grappler is far from ideal. But at the end of the day, the fact that he took the fight is what matters. Nobody wants to fight Gamrot. He's basically the Voldemort of the lightweight division. Opponents don't even want to say his name. The funny thing is, Gamrot isn't some devastating finisher. He's a tough, technical wrestler who frustrates opponents, but he's not out here sending people into another dimension or snapping limbs. Still, everyone avoids him. He's only had one clear loss, and that was to Beneil Dariush. His losses to Hooker and Guram were both razor-close decisions, but Dariush was the only one to convincingly beat him, and honestly, Oliveira could follow the same blueprint Dariush used: sprawl and brawl. Sprawl on the takedowns, scramble to his feet, and don't play the ground game. In that fight, Gamrot attempted 19 takedowns, landed only 4, and had a total of just 2 minutes and 7 seconds of control. That's exactly the game plan Oliveira needs, and he might even do it better than Dariush. Charles hits harder, he's a sharper striker, and he has more offensive weapons overall. The key will be to use scrambles, not to engage in grappling exchanges, but to get back up and reset. That's the most optimal strategy for him. A full training camp isn't really necessary for Gamrot to take a fight, but he'll still get one about 2.5 weeks. Realistically, one of those weeks will be dedicated to weight cutting, which leaves him only about a week and a half of true fight prep. Stylistically, this is a tough matchup for Gamrot. It's very unlikely that he out-grapples Oliveira. Only the very best have been able to keep up with Charles on the mat, let alone surpass him. Islam Makhachev beat him on the ground, but only after first rocking him on the feet. In their early grappling exchanges, it was fairly even. Arman Tsarukyan also pushed him but nearly got submitted in the process. Those are elite grapplers. Is Gamrot at that level? Maybe, but it's debatable. He did beat Arman years ago, but that wasn't the same Arman we see today. And unlike Tsarukyan, Gamrot's skill set hasn't really evolved much. He still fights largely the same way. Gamrot isn't the most entertaining fighter. His best fights come against fellow high-level grapplers, which is exactly what we'll see here. Every scramble, reversal, and sweep Oliveira attempts will likely be met with a counter from Gamrot. Still, I'd give Charles the edge in the stand-up. Gamrot isn't a menacing puncher, while Oliveira is clearly the more powerful and technically sharp striker. Gamrot also doesn't react well to getting hit, and Charles carries one-punch knockout power with crisp offensive form. Oliveira's defense remains an issue, so Gamrot could land quick counters. But considering how often Gamrot gets pushed onto the back foot, I can see Charles shifting to a sprawl and brawl game plan or making that adjustment mid-fight if he sees Gamrot retreating. That's his best path: focus on offensive striking and just sprawl on the takedowns. Gamrot will almost certainly aim for top control and submissions, so Oliveira can't afford to play guard for long stretches. If he uses scrambles as a way to stand rather than to exchange grappling, he stays ahead. Of course, the big question is Oliveira's chin. He was knocked out cold just months ago, after years of taking heavy damage. He's been dropped more than almost anyone in the division. That wear and tear might make Gamrot's shots look more dangerous than they really are. Either his durability is truly compromised, or the talk of his decline is overstated. We'll see. Honestly, I think this matchup is better for Oliveira than people think. It's ironic given his initial reluctance, but after getting knocked out by a striker, I'd rather see him against a grappler like Gamrot. It's a safer style clash for his chin and plays into his strengths. Now, I do hope the UFC has a backup in place just in case. Diego Lopes already expressed interest, and while that would have been an incredible fight, I'm glad it didn't happen. Lopes is dangerous, explosive, and could have brutally finished Oliveira. As much as I'd enjoy the chaos of that matchup, as an Oliveira fan, Gamrot is a better option, sure.